Hi, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of Revelation chapter 12. What I want to talk about regarding Revelation chapter 12, I should say. There are many videos out there that talk about Revelation chapter 12, but I am trying to give the knowledge that God has given me about this subject. I want to continue where I left off in part 2 pertaining to the fiery red dragon and who he truly is, and he is God. And I don't mean that in a new age. I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the Bible calls God a fiery red dragon, and he is described many times as having the ability to burn and to have or create a stream of brimstone, which I believe it pertains to all the volcanic eruptions. And so I wanted to pick up there and reread Revelation chapter 12 verses 3 and forward. So, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And I just want to tell you that I believe that we are talking about God here, not Satan. Verse 4, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. Now, as I said in the past, in the second video on this topic, only God can draw the heavenly beings called stars down and cast them to the ground. That's him. He casts Satan down along with the other 1/3 of the heavenly hosts called stars or angels down to earth because they wanted to usurp God's authority. And so those beings are now called fallen angels, and they dwell among us, and they walk this earth as men, and we just don't know that we are surrounded by them, but we are. Revelation 12, verse 4, I'm sorry. The second part of verse 4. And it reads, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And I just want to say, as I said in the last video, that here this is God standing watch, standing ready to receive this child. This child is the 144,000 Hebrew souls that were taken in 2018 after the Revelation 12 sign happened in September of 2017. So this is God rapturing the 144,000, called a child here. And the word devour, as I said, is not as we think of it as to harm, but he meant to wholly consume, to stand there waiting, anticipating to seize this child before the snake, the serpent, could harm this 144,000 first fruit barley harvest. Okay? Now, reading on. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. There is a picture of the rapture. And these 144,000 and the tribe of Judah will, all the tribe of Judah, not just 12,000, but all of the tribe of Judah will be ruling the nations in the millennium. So Revelation 12 verse 5 shows us a picture of the rapture when it says in verse 5, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. That has already happened. And the woman fled, I'm on verse 6 now. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And I wanted to talk about the numbers there. 1,260 days equals 3.5 years, the time of the tribulation, and the time of the Great Tribulation. If you add the tribulation and the Great Tribulation together, that totals 7 years. And 1,260 days also equals 42 months, the length of a so-called American presidency. 42 months. Okay, now it says here in verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And there I want to say that should be written serpent. Everyone knows that Lucifer is a serpent. He is not a dragon. He is the same being that was in the Garden of Eden, and everyone knows there he was a snake. And he's not just any snake, but he is a plumed snake. He has the ability to fly. At one point, he could even walk upright. So, I just want to say that Revelation chapter 12, verses 7, 9, 13, 16, and verse 17 are all speaking of Lucifer, the snake, the serpent, the old serpent that we all know is the devil. Okay. I think that I want to end it there. I just want everybody to realize that the fiery red dragon is different than the old serpent. That's Lucifer, okay? All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope that you have a blessed day or evening, and I will talk to you all next time. Make sure that you are saved. The time is quickly approaching, where God will take his people away from here. All those who belong to him will be leaving in this next and final rapture before the Great Tribulation, which will start next year, March of 2022. And I pray that we are all gone before this time, because then we will see there will be much distress and things taking place that will truly terrify us, because we live in a magical, for lack of a better term, it's going to appear magical, the things that will be seen during the Great Tribulation, which lasts 3.5 years. It should end, I believe, September of 2025. At that point, at some point at the end, the second coming of Jesus Christ will happen. The Great Tribulation will be horrific. You won't be able to buy and sell. You will have to worship Satan or demons, demonic angels, or die. You will have to denounce Christ, or you will die. So if you are here, be prepared to die if you are a true believer in Jesus Christ, or if you decide to become a true believer in Jesus Christ during that period, because it will be much harder then to be a believer in Jesus Christ, because they will kill you. But there's things worse than death. There's an eternal hell, a lake of fire. So that choice is ours to make, whether we want to bow down for a little while. Maybe they'll spare your life. Or if we want to stay true to Christ and not bow down and lose our life and have an eternity with God after that horrific period of time. So I pray that if you do find yourself there, that you do not bow to any demonic entity, don't bow to anyone, only pray to Jesus Christ. Also, do not take the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast will be a form of birth control for both men and women alike. It will be a small patch. I think it's square with a series of circles on it that will be placed on your forehead or your right hand. But they're going to call it birth control. So be aware of that. And so do not take the mark of the beast. Do not bow. Both of those will end you up in hell, where these monsters will be able to attack you, and it'll just be a constant I don't know, but you don't want to go there. So many blessings to you all. I pray that this has helped. Until next time, goodbye.